Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. Today we're taking a look at a hunter build that is getting massively buffed in the Monument of Triumph update. If you're a hunter player, then you can take the build that I'm going to cover today and use it right now and see success, but what I really want to recommend is that you prepare this build for next week or right now if you're watching this in the future. As for what this build does offer, it's a primarily glaive focused build, but it improves the hell out of them, making it very desirable even in endgame content. To the point that this build can offer up to a 1118% glaive melee damage increase. And with that lethality and the survivability that the rest of the build offers, this build is definitely a fun one. But before we dive deeper into the video, here's where I come to you with my personal pleas. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers eventually. Destiny 2 might be coming to an end, but I have so much content, especially about Monument of Triumph, that you're not going to want to miss. Whether that's raid guides, farm guides, new builds using all the new abilities, the new sandbox, you're not going to want to miss it. And who knows, maybe Destiny 3 is announced and you want to see my content in that game. Having you subscribe would mean an absolute ton to me. I also have a Twitch that I stream 3 to 4 times a week. Definitely come say hi during Monument of Triumph because who knows how long we'll be there for. And then also I have a Discord, which is my tight-knit community that I'm trying to grow as well. So join that. Both of those linked down in the description. But with that said, I have also something to offer you, and that is a dim link. That way you can take the build that I'm covering today extremely easily, and there are timestamps down below. That way you can skip through this video, get whatever information you want with literally one press of a button. Now, with that said, let's actually take a look at this pretty fun hunter build that I've got cooked up. We first start by looking at our exotic armor piece. This exotic armor piece is a Triton Vice. These gloves read increased glaive reload speed and melee damage when surrounded. Glaive melee final blows overflow around to the magazine. Glaive projectile final blows detonate in an explosion. Starting with part 1 of this exotic, while surrounded, we get benefits to reload speed and damage for our glaives, with the damage being the biggest benefit. This comes out to a flat plus 200%, as against a single target without the exotic, we deal 227 damage. And then when we're surrounded with the Halberdier's Reach buff on the left side of the screen, we deal 681. This is going to be the first thing that increases our damage in this build, but there's a lot more coming soon. The next effect of Triton Vice is that melee kills will overflow 1 bullet to our glaive mag. This is nice, but really not that important. And then we also have the elemental explosions on projectile kills. This is a very nice bonus, giving our glaives a bit more ad clear. With that said, these explosions aren't that big, so we won't be clearing rooms with 1 kill. All things considered, Triton Vice makes glaives just better. And with some massive buffs coming in Moment of Triumph, some glaives might just be meta, which takes us to what I believe will be the best one to combo here. And that is the exotic Arc Glaive, Edge of Concurrence. This glaive has a bit going on, but its main perk reads, melee and projectile damage charge this weapon. When fully charged, hold reload to enable a special ranged attack. Sustained projectile damage causes targets to become jolted. Now, we can look at all of this in action. The first thing to notice is the charges that this weapon holds. Any form of damage from this glaive will give us a charge. At 6, we can then hold reload to activate our special shot. And as you'll see, that also gives us 1 ammo from thin air. So even with 0 ammo in this weapon, we can build up charges and still be able to shoot the special shot that this glaive is all about. Also, as the last little bit, sustained damage will eventually cause our glaive to jolt, just like it has the perk jolting feedback that you'll find on legendary weapons. Now, when it comes to describing our special shot, we have the second exotic perk that reads, hold reload. When weapon is fully charged, consume charge before firing to make your next shot track targets across the ground, jolting them and unleashing chain lightning on impact. In game, it looks as it's described, a seeker that tracks extremely aggressively, hits a target, and then jolts them chaining to nearby enemies. And the damage this projectile does is really quite a lot, allowing you to chunk high health enemies. And what you'll notice is also when you're killing fodder with it, those kills from the jolt will cause the Triton Vice explosions, giving us some awesome synergy there and some pretty good ad clear. But now for the last bit about Edge of Concurrence, we actually have something I can't show you. In the next update, these weapons will charge twice as fast, meaning we get our special shot every 3 damage instances, meaning we'll probably spend more time with this OP lightning projectile ready than not. But now moving on from our exotics, we're going to immediately take a look at our subclass. This build will have us beyond Prismatic, and our super can actually be a couple options. I run Tether for the boss fight and team support, but you could really swap this to be anything. Our class ability is Gambler's Dodge to refund our melee when dodging. Our chosen melee is Combination Blow. This melee does a lot. First is that kills with it increase melee damage up to 3 times. Then kills will also refund our class ability and heal us. You might see why we run this melee, but I'll show it off in a second. And then we have our grenade, which for my case, it's always grapple because it is just too fun to pass up. But now we have our aspects. Option 1 is Ascension. This aspect says that we can use our air move to consume our dodge to propel ourselves upward, damage and jolt enemies with an AoE, and then amplify any allies in the same AoE. In game, it works exactly as described, giving our dodge some damage, and it makes us tankier thanks to the amplify that we get from it. Also, this ability does still activate our dodge, refunding our melee whenever we do ascend. But then back on our subclass, we have our second aspect, and here we are running Stylish Executioner, which says that any kill on a debuffed enemy will make us invisible and give us true sight. And then while invisible, we get a bit more melee damage, but mainly we use this to go invis on kills that we get from our glaive and class ability. But to actually show off that melee damage increase, we've got a bit more to cover. First, our previous damage stacking Trident Vice was 681. Now, if we stack Combination Blow by briefly swapping off our glaive and getting kills with our melee, refunding that with our dodge, we now deal 1588 damage. That is plus 600% right now. But then if we get really optimal, we can go invisible and increase our damage thanks to Stylish Executioner. And now the opening attack will deal 2268 damage. Right now, this is a 900% glaive melee damage buff. Granted, we don't really need to try to get this maxed out for most cases. With that said though, we've got even more ways to stack melee damage. But before we touch on that, we have our fragments. First is Faceted Protection. This fragment offers us some DR when surrounded, makes us tankier. Then we run Faceted Purpose. This fragment will give us some survivability dependent on our super. In the case of Tether, that's a Void Overshield, which does help with our chosen artifact. And then we use Facet Hope, which gives us our class ability back quicker when we have any elemental buff. And then lastly, Facet of Blessing, which will regen our health on melee kill. And yes, this does work with glaives, giving us some nice survivability there. Moving on completely out of our subclass, with that done, I want to talk about our other optional weapons. The main idea behind this build is to spam your glaive, but you do have 2 other weapon slots. And outside of the buffed up melee and your special shot, you don't really do a whole lot of weapon damage to bosses. So having a fallback for that is a pretty good idea. Rocket Pulses is what I would normally recommend. They're going to hit with pretty massive nerfs, so instead I might recommend something like a fusion rifle. But then for your heavy slot, you could use something like Heavy Sniper, the A499, or an eager edge sword if you like to move fast, like myself. Ultimately, it is optional, but try to have some boss damage in here when you do eventually run into a really tanky target. Now, the next topic to cover is our armor. Beginning with the stats, we want to go all in on melee. Up to 100, this decreases our melee cooldown, but that doesn't matter for glaives. So above 100, it actually increases our melee damage, and this does apply to our glaive melee. As for our other stats, we like to have 100 super for the fastest cooldown, and then we need at least 70 class so that our dodge refunds melee totally. This is technically getting nerfed, so we might need higher class in the next update. Just keep an eye on that. And then you can focus any other stat you wish after that. Although I would hazard to say weapons would be best if you can manage it. But now, for the final showcase of glaive damage, including our stats and everything previously stacked together, our one hit deals 2,765 damage for plus 1,118% glaive melee damage. And really, it isn't that hard to get going. But now for our armor mods, let's take a look at those. On our helmet, we run an arc siphon so that we can get orbs from our glaive projectiles, a special ammo finder, and a special ammo scout so we can make more special ammo for us and our team. On our arms, we run a heavy-handed to make orbs on melee kills, but this only happens when we use combo blow or grapple, unfortunately, not our glaive melee. Then we run 2 impact induction so that melee damage refunds a bit of our class ability. Then our chests get resist mods, you know the drill. Our legs get a better already and an absolution to get health and ability energy on orb pickup, and an arc scavenger to get more ammo for our glaive. Then our class item gets a reaper to make orbs after ascending, even our glaive melee will make them, a powerful attraction to suck up orbs on ascending, and a special finisher to make ammo on demand. Now finally, we have our artifact. And this is one of the most interesting things about this build. In the new update, as you may know, you can choose from one of 7 artifacts. For all future builds, this gives us so much more to consider and so much possibility for new things to be strong. With that said though, I do think our current artifact is best for this build. So looking at that, firstly we have Dielectric. This perk will grant us Bolt Charge upon defeating arc debuffed enemies, but will also heal us when doing so. This is a very nice source of survivability. The next perk we really like is Singularity Blade. This causes our melee hits to weaken whenever we have a Void buff. That could mean Void Overshield or Invisibility granted by our subclass. Then while it's active, our melee will cause enemies to take 15% more damage. And then to pair with that, we use Power from Pain. This will give this build Devour whenever we get rapid kills on weakened enemies, which is pretty easy with that last artifact perk. So in this build, we get Overshield from Orbs thanks to our subclass, Invisibility, and Devour. All massive boons to survivability. And lastly, we really like Void Infestation, which will spread that weaken even more and give us a little bit of ad clear. But now finally, to end this video, we have the gameplay loop. Normally, I begin by grappling into a group of enemies. I will then ascend to make my staff amplified for the damage resistance while also jolting and damaging all nearby enemies. Then we kind of just go to town with the glaive. We should be making orbs thanks to Reaper, and any projectile kills we get will also be making orbs thanks to our siphon. While we slice away, we should be getting Void Overshields, going invisible, and weakening targets, allowing us to proc Devour. In most cases, we can just slice away non-stop and only take breaks to ascend or shoot enemies with the special shot that we're constantly charging. But in harder content, you can also leverage Combination Blow to up our melee damage a ton. Combination Blow only lasts like 20 seconds, but you can use that buff to truly nuke enemies. And while running around, you will eventually get Transcendence, so make sure to pop that for the grenade and the increased survivability that it offers. You also have your super pretty often, which can be used on massive ad waves or against bosses. And then when facing bosses, you can glaive them if you can manage combo blow stacks, but I find it just a bit easier to swap off to our boss-specific weapons. But considering this build barely uses special ammo, double special is really easy to keep up. So don't be afraid to run that fusion rifle or that new sniper or whatever it may be that we're running in Monument of Triumph. But with that, I think that's everything I wanted to say. Thank you so much for getting this far into the video. Your viewership is genuinely so appreciated. Here we are right before the big update. It's a bit bittersweet, but we'll make the most of it. So make sure you're subscribed. If you want to support me, support the channel, a like, a comment, a subscription, all of that goes a long way. Coming and saying hi to me on Twitch, that helps out a ton. Joining my Discord, if you're on mobile, hyping the video, that I think actually does help out a ton. Knowers know. But if you want to support me and support the channel and you can't think of a comment down below, Triton. And with that, as usual, I hope you are having a great day and I hope to see you around.